Yeah.
Okay,
Good
we are live
evening,
now?
all of you. Yeah.
Okay, very good evening to all of you. So guys, we are here for the complete analysis of GS paper 1. I'd like to welcome our esteemed founder and also the mentor Deepika ma'am, along with Deepika ma'am, who is also the faculty for uh, many of the subjects, including polity and international relations, to name a few of them. And welcome Dinesh sir, faculty of geography. Welcome Chaman sir, the faculty for science and text, and also for the current affairs. I myself, Pratyush Tiwari, faculty for history. Without wasting any time, guys, we already have had the reactions. So without wasting any time, I'd like to request Deepika ma'am to take over the polity questions. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. We are starting with polity questions. Let me just tell you, we are going to do subject-wise questions. To start off with, I'm going to do the polity questions. We'll give you the key and explanation for it. If you have any doubts, meanwhile, you please say comment in the live chat so that we can take up your doubts and ask. So, starting with the first question, this is about the local self-government, and they have asked us to identify the incorrect statements. Panchayats at the intermediate level exist in all states is the first statement, which is incorrect because there are several states like Arunachal Pradesh which do not have an intermediary level. In fact, the constitution says intermediary level is not necessary for states with 20 lakhs or below population. So the first statement is incorrect. The second statement, to be eligible to be a member of a panchayat at the intermediary level, a person should have attained the age of 30 years. 30 years is incorrect because it is 21 years. The minimum age to contest elections in India is 21 years. That is in panchayat elections. The third, the chief minister of a state constitutes a commission to review the financial position of panchayats. The very beginning of the statement is incorrect because it is not the chief minister, it is the governor of the state. Governor will appoint the um, finance commission members and chairperson. So all the three statements are incorrect. Which of the statements are not correct? We go with D as the option. 1, 2, 3 are not correct. Now, moving on to the second question. The second question is on Lokpal, and the question is asked to a lot of depth. Unless you have read the entire provisions related to the constitution, and conditions of service of Lokpal, you will not be able to answer. The first question says the first statement says you have to identify the correct options, by the way. The first statement says the power of Lokpal applies to public servants of India, but not to the Indian public servants posted outside India. In the Act, there is no such provision. Lokpal can investigate into any complaint of corruption against any public servant. So the first statement is incorrect. The second statement, the chairman or a member shall not be a member of parliament or a member of legislature, that is MP, MLA, and only the Chief Justice of India. This is incorrect. See, this provision was actually made in the draft bill. It was discussed very widely. Then they decided that it need not be a Chief Justice. It could be also be a judge of a Supreme Court or any other person. So Chief Justice is not mandatory. A chairman should be a Chief Justice is not mandatory. This is also incorrect. The chairman or a member shall not be a person of less than 45 years of age on the date of assuming office as the chairman or member, as the case may be, is correct. Lokpal specifies the minimum age to become a chairman or member of the Lokpal, and that is 45 years. Lokpal cannot inquire into allegations of corruption against a sitting prime minister is incorrect because the Lokpal Act provides for the Prime Minister to investigation against the Prime Minister, but under certain conditions. So this is also incorrect. We go with A as the option. Moving forward, the next one is related to the pardoning powers of the president. Two statements, we have to identify the correct statement. The exercise of this power by the president can be subjected to limited judicial review. What is limited judicial review? Where only under certain conditions the court will review the decision, and that is correct. The court has specifically stated only when on irrelevant facts in violation of the constitution with a malified intention, a mercy petition is not considered. the court will interfere. So it is limited judicial power, correct. The president can exercise this power without the advice of the central government is incorrect, because the president will seek the advice of the Union Home Ministry in deciding on pardoning, using his pardoning powers. So the answer would be A. Now moving forward, the next question. The next
Ma'am,
question.
we have a few questions coming up. We'll just like to
Yeah.
keep it a bit candid, ma'am. The viewers are watching for a full solution answer. Ki kab tak milega? And according to you, how were the polity questions and the cutoff?
Full solution key hamara to we are ready with it. We will be sharing it after this live is over. And as far as polity questions are concerned, it's a mix. There are some questions which are direct and simple, but there are some questions which are indirect, in depth, like the Lokpal question that has been very detailed. I mean, unless you read it completely, you will not be able to answer it.
Thank you, ma'am. Please continue. And while ma'am is continuing, other educators, if you have any point to put forward for the question, please, you can also join in. Let's keep it a bit candid. Yes, Deepika ma'am, please continue.
Now, the next question is related to the Speaker, Office of People. Speaker has been asked over the last few years. If you notice, there have been a lot of questions on the Office of Speaker. The first statement says, on the dissolution of the House of People, meaning Lok Sabha is dissolved, elections are coming up. Will the Speaker's office become vacant immediately? The answer is no. The Speaker shall not vacate her office until immediately before the first meeting of the House of People after the dissolution. This is actually correct. He or she will not vacate his or her office. The second, according to the provisions of the Constitution of India, an MP on being elected as Speaker shall resign from his or her political party immediately is incorrect. We don't have to resign. There is no rule in the Constitution that they have to resign. The third one, the Speaker of the House of People may be removed from his/her office by a resolution of the House of People passed by a majority of all the then members of the House is very, very important, provided that no resolution shall be moved unless at least 14 days notice period has been given of the intention to move the resolution. This statement is correct. This is called as effective majority. So if you have read the provisions related to officers of parliament, this question is a cakewalk. You can easily answer this question. So 1 and 3 would be the right options.
Deepika ma'am,
Now,
can you say that this question of speaker is also that of static, as well as the speaker post was in the news also? We were saying, so it's also from the current affairs.
see, Office of Speaker is static, no doubt about it, but the Office of Speaker has gained a lot of prominence in states as well as in the Lok Sabha over a period of time. The last 2-3 years, there have been a lot of discussions on Office of Speaker, Deputy Speaker. We could say that this is related to the current part.
True. Okay, ma'am.
And moving on, this question is totally related to current affairs, though it is not direct current affairs because it is related to the anti-defection law. Anti-defection law is constantly in news over the last 3-4 years. There have been many judgments, many cases filed in the court. Even now, cases are going on in the court on anti-defection law. And as we all know, in anti-defection law, it is not the president who decides, but it is the Speaker. That is the reason why the first statement is incorrect, and the Speaker will not consult anybody. Here they are talking about consultation with Council of Ministers. It is not true. And the word political party is not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. In fact, there are many terms that we usually come across which are not mentioned anywhere in the Constitution. Like, we say India is a welfare state, but welfare state is not mentioned in the Constitution. We talk about judicial review, it is not mentioned in the Constitution. So it is important that students know what is written and what is not written in the Constitution. The right answer for this would be B. This statement is related to minerals and who has the authority to decide on it. It is not directly related to the constitution. It is related to the Minerals Act. According to this, in India, state governments have no power for making rules for grant of concessions in respect of extraction of minor minerals, even though such minerals are located in their territories, is incorrect. The Act, Section 13 or 15, if I'm not wrong, says that the states have the power. Basically, this question is also current affairs based because there was a judgment by the Supreme Court on this. In India, the central government has the power to notify minor minerals under the relevant act, is correct. So we go with only one of the statements is true. So statement 2 is correct and statement 1 is incorrect. Now, moving forward, the next one is related to the 15th Finance Commission. And 15th Finance Commission, this is the second time they've asked, but this question is related to the recommendations of the 15th Finance Commission. And if you have read the recommendations as given in PIB, you will be able to answer this question. The first statement is correct. In this, the second statement is incorrect because it is 41% of net proceeds. It is not 45%. The third statement and fourth statement are correct. So we'll go with 1, 3, and 4. Now, this is a very interesting question. Unless you know what is ordinance, you will not be able to answer it. Ordinance is a temporary law. We call it as a temporary law. So this question, we basically talk about uh, application of ordinance, where ordinance can be applied and where ordinance cannot be applied. Remember that ordinance can amend any central act because it is like an ordinary law. Because you're not able to make an ordinary law, you're promulgating an ordinance. So this is right. An ordinance cannot abridge a fundamental right. According to Article 13, an ordinance comes under the definition of law and it cannot abridge a fundamental right. So incorrect. An ordinance can come into effect from a backdate. Any civil law in India can be backdated. It can have retrospective effect. An ordinance can be related to a criminal law or a civil law. If it is related to civil law, it can be backdated. So 1, 3 are correct. C would be the correct answer. Now moving forward, this is a very interesting question. I would say that this is not just related to polity, but it is also related to geography. If Dinesh would agree with me on it.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. Because
Why?
we have said about Arunachal, Nagaland, and what states has what different types of constitutional amendment acts.
Not just that, the first part says the capital is named after a fort. Arunachal Pradesh capital is named after a fort, and the state has 2 national parks, which is correct. Nagaland, the state came into existence on the basis of a constitutional amendment act, the 13th Constitutional Amendment Act. Tripura, initially a Part C state, became a centrally administered territory with the reorganization of states in 1956. This is also correct. So it is all the 3. Moving forward, this is a very simple question. These kind of questions are generally asked, and we usually ask students to know about various authorities constituted by the government. The first, with reference to Indian Constitution, consider the following. They've given 3, but the difference is they said as per the provisions of Constitution of India. They did not ask which of the following is a constitutional body. So it is indirectly asked to identify the constitutional bodies, out of which only Interstate Council is a constitutional body. So we go with only one. And this makes the question a little difficult because you don't know exactly which is right and which is wrong. If you're not aware of the remaining 2, answering it will be very difficult. Elimination method will not work when your options are given like this. And off late, you have more such questions coming like this. Chaman, how many questions have come last year on this?
Ma'am, this trend started in 2022 with 8 questions. And in 2023, it was around more than 30, 35 questions. And last year, like, I don't have the exact data, but it was more than 12 and 15 questions, something like that.
This is a pattern, I think, ma'am and sir, both, where, the role of elimination is taken away by the UPSC, I guess.
You
Yeah,
can't
but
eliminate. There is no way you can eliminate if the options are given like this.
You know,
but
you
the
know. If you don't know,
issues,
you don't know.
yeah, but the issues with this question is right. But if you know the wrong option, the wrong
Mhm.
answer, and even that, say, suppose the answer is only one a person has marked based on that, and based on his analysis that only zonal councils are there.
Okay.
Even though that will mark this question as correct, even though he or she is having a deficit in knowledge, because it gets correct because of his or her lack of knowledge.
Okay. So there is a
And the
loophole
problem
here
is,
also.
even in APPSC, TSPSC, the same trend is followed, ma'am. In the recent paper of 2024,
Yes,
we have more
UPSC,
than
whatever is
10
given,
questions were there.
we
Okay,
actually in
with
our
that, we get an opportunity, guys. We are running the live batches for UPSC, TSPSC, as well as for APPSC. Okay, and you can see all our esteemed educators over here. You can see the numbers. That is 770202676 for free demo classes, and also for one-on-one live mentorship by our esteemed founder as well as the mentor, Deepika ma'am. You can call on the numbers given below. And yes, ma'am, please continue.
Okay, now moving forward, the next question is related to the governor's office, and this is very important because previously we had a very important judgment by the Supreme Court on governor's powers, Article 200 and 201, after which a presidential reference has been made. The president had raised 14 questions under 143, Article 143. So the Constitution of India explicitly mentions that in certain spheres, the governor of a state acts in his or her own discretion is correct. The statement is based on Article 63. You should have a very clear understanding of this article because it directly mentions the word to his discretion. That is the reason this is important. The second, the President of India can, of his her own, reserve a bill passed by a state legislature for his her consideration without it being forwarded by the governor of the state concerned. This, as on date, is not there in the constitution. This is a question raised by the president in her presidential reference. We have to wait and see what the Supreme Court is going to say. But for now, this is incorrect because the president does not have any such power. So we go with A. Now moving forward.
The way to go for the polity, I guess, is the static topics which are in current. That's the
You
way.
have to follow the backgrounders in detail, तिवारी जी. And static part का भी ये static question है. इसको बहुत ही they gave it in a very simple manner. This is a very simple and straight questions, but at times they go into details. तो पॉलिटी अप्रोच करने का बेस्ट तरीका ये है कि यू हैव योर फाउंडेशन स्ट्रॉन्ग. कॉन्सेप्चुअल क्लैरिटी बहुत जरूरी है पॉलिटी में. दूसरी चीज ये है कि कभी भी कुछ भी न्यूज में रहा तो it is important that you know the background related to it. For example, कल आप CBC न्यूज में है समझो, CBC का हर डिटेल आपको मालूम होना चाहिए. So current affairs is not just reading what is in the newspaper. It is going beyond that and trying to understand the basics, the backgrounders of it.
That's a very important point, ma'am. We should not depend only on the one-liners that we see in the current affairs. Rather, we need to go into the nitty-gritties of it. Yeah, ma'am, please continue.
This is a pairing question and it is very simple. Separation of judiciary from executive and DPSP. Composite culture is fundamental duties and employment of children below the age of 14 years in factories is Article 24 of fundamental rights. So all the three pairs are correctly matched. Now again, this is an ambiguous question where you don't have, it is your ability to use the elimination technique is almost zero. Now, moving forward, with reference to the Constitution of India, if an area in a state is declared as a scheduled area, schedule and tribal areas, Schedule 5 and Schedule 6 are being asked a lot these days. It is important that you have a good grip over those two schedules. The state government loses its executive power in such areas, and a local body assumes total administration is incorrect. See, what happens in a scheduled area is, in order to protect the interests of the scheduled tribes residing there, the local bodies are given more power. The scheduled tribes are represented in the local bodies to preserve their culture, to preserve their economy, and for their development, they are given more powers. Does not mean that you're taking away power from the state. The second point, the union government can take over the total administration of such areas under certain circumstances on the recommendations of the governor. True. Governor will submit a recommendation on the administration of scheduled areas, and if recommended, the union government will have the power to take over. So 2 is correct. Now, one more reason why these are in focus is, if you have noticed over the last 2-3 years, there have been several schemes, policies, and programs for tribes and primitive tribal groups. I'm sure you must have heard of PVTGs, or primitive tribal groups that we call them. There have been many initiatives launched by the government. The government is focusing on these. And the third group that the government is focusing is denotified tribes. That is the reason why anything related to these social groups, even in the constitution, you should be very clearly aware. Now, moving forward, this is again a pairing question where you have to know which authority comes under what ministry. Now, National Automotive Board is heavy industries, Choir Board is micro, small and medium enterprises, and National Center for Trade Information is commerce and industry. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? None of them are matched. This is purely factual. If you're aware, then you can simply mark it. Now, moving forward, this is about Article 368. Where do you need ratification of states? List 1, union list in the 7th schedule, you need ratification of states. Extent of the executive power of a state, you need ratification. Conditions of the governor's office, you don't need ratification of the state. So 1 and 2 will be our answer. You will get these details under 368. Even if you amend Article 368, you have to take the ratification of the states. Now, moving forward, with reference to the Indian polity, consider the following statements. The governor of a state is not answerable to any court for the exercise and performance of the powers and duties of her office. This is correct. The governor and the president are not answerable. This is an immunity guaranteed to the head of the state and the head of the country. No criminal proceedings shall be instituted or continued against the governor during his term of office is also correct. Ministers of a state legislature are not liable to any proceedings in any court in respect of anything said within the house is also correct, because this comes under parliamentary privileges. So this question is a mix of two things. One is Article 361, which details the immunities for the office of the president and governor, and the second is 105, which deals with parliamentary privileges. Against legislative privileges will be similar to them. So all three statements are correct. We go with D as the right option. These are the 16 questions that were asked on polity. I would request Dinesh
Yeah,
to take up
Dinesh here,
geography.
esteemed faculty for geography, will discuss the questions for geography with you. Meanwhile, before we begin that, Deepika ma'am, what do you think the polity questions, the label, how was the label of the paper, questions of polity exclusively?
Polity, the number of questions is as expected. Usually it is around 15 questions. The maximum was 20 at a point of time, but 15 questions is decent. It is a mix of current based, but they have gone purely subjective. Most of the questions are subjective, though they are in current affairs, they as backgrounders. Most of the questions are subjective. A student who has good knowledge of the basic concepts, basic provisions of the constitution will be able to answer majority of the questions as far as I am concerned, I think. At least on an average, they should be able to answer 10 to 11 questions rightly. For example, benefit of doubt mein Lokpal chhod dete hai because that is not anticipated. The boards and ministries also, people may not read so much. So, 2-3 ko chhod ke baki ka they can answer.
Thank you, ma'am. Dinesh sir, please take
Sir.
over.
Sir, I'll be sharing the screen in a minute, sir.
So Dinesh sir will be discussing the questions of geography. Dinesh sir also takes the classes for geography, as you might have seen. And guys, if you have not yet subscribed, please subscribe. You might get to watch many of his classes for free on YouTube, and you can also join the live batches that we are running for UPSC, APPSC, and also for TSPSC. The numbers are given below. Yes, Dinesh sir, please go ahead with your
Yes, sir.
analysis of
Sir,
geography.
in terms of geography, the paper was moderate, sir. I don't say complete difficult, and it's not easy, sir. Without just, if you just refer to the standard books of like Goching Leong, Savinder Singh, or maybe NCERT doesn't even solve a problem. Because, for example, you can see on the screen, maximum questions were linked directly or indirectly to the map pointings. Without map pointing, generally for students often neglect map pointing. From the first question itself, it says that you have to concentrate on map pointing, sir. For example, if you take the first question, consider the following countries: Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Paraguay, and Venezuela. All these questions are from South America. Andes Mountains passes through how many of the above countries? So once upon a time, he asked questions about characteristics of the mountains and all. But now see how trickily he has given. Neither like Bolivia, Paraguay, and all. He given how many. So if you just look at it, Bolivia, yes, we have Bolivia passes through. Brazil will be the eastern part. It doesn't have Andes Mountains. Colombia, yes, but Ecuador, yes, Ecuador will also have. But Paraguay doesn't have it. If you just look at the map, outrightly, yes, it looks like. But if you open South America map and exclusively, Paraguay doesn't cross the border. Like Andes Mountains doesn't pass the Paraguay, and Venezuela, yes. The option will be 4. So here we have 4 options. Options will be 4, sir. So it's not just looking at the map, keenly looking into each and every continent. That is what required for us. For example, for exclusive for this type of thing. Now in question number 43, consider the following water bodies. So we have 3 lakes here, which was, for example, the question was like, it is in current affairs. Yes, it is in current affairs. Particularly in Africa, where we have several mines which were taken over by China. So near this lake, Tanganyika and Tonle Sap and Potos Lagoon. So there where, for example, Potos is in Brazil. It was in news because of the forest fights in Brazil. And option number 1 is also because of China's influence. It was in news. Lake number 2, it is not that much. It's in Cambodia. We are not concerned about it. So here, how many of them does not pass through equator, but each and every of them passes through equator. So our option is none. So see how he has given. You might have think like there are thousands, lakhs of lakes all over the world. How many lakes we have to remember? No, don't remember all the lakes. Just refer to the Hindu paper. Wherever we have lake getting extinct or there is a problem for the lake, learn about those lakes only. For example, here, right? If you look at the next question, consider the following statements regarding turmeric, sir. This is like very, very important because it includes because of the recent turmeric board. India is largest producer and exporter of turmeric in the world. Yes, India's turmeric is used all over the world, right? And more than 30 varieties of turmeric are grown in India. Yes, we have more than 30 varieties. This is also correct. Maharashtra, Telangana, Karnataka, and Tamil Nadu. In Telangana, this is the same question asked in TSPSC also. See how the trend was. Last year, TSPSC, we have this question. But in TSPSC, they asked about which region of Telangana we have. But of course, the regions and districts will not be asked in UPSC. So they asked about states. So here we have all the 3
I'll take a minute from Dinesh sir. Yes, that's what we should even emphasize on this topic, because we have the experience both from TSPSC, APPSC, and as well as from UPSC. So guys, sometimes it happens that you think that no, the questions are going to be vastly different for the TSPSC, APPSC, and that for UPSC. Yes, they are. But you can see these topics, as Dinesh sir is rightly pointing it out. So guys, for the live batches, I'll again remind the description has the link, and the numbers are given below. So you can contact there for free demo classes. Yes, Dinesh sir. And as Dinesh sir is pointing out, sir, can we believe that we need to, for geography especially, an atlas should also be kept by students while they are
Yes,
going
sir.
through the
Yes.
current affairs as well as the static portion?
Yes, sir. If you see clearly, you can purchase Oxford Atlas or Orient Blacksman Atlas, whatever the atlas it is, you should purchase an atlas. So you instead of going with the reels and YouTube reels, better go with the atlas. With that will definitely help you to get. Maybe last year it might have added only 2 marks, but this year it will add 10 marks. Right? Just going through the atlas will add 10 marks in your present 2025 UPSC geography. Now going with the next question.
I'd like to add one more point. Knowledge of Atlas is very essential for IR. Geopolitics
True, ma'am.
is totally in today. If you want to understand what is happening and why it is happening between countries, the only way you can understand is by knowing their locations. So, map pointing, atlas reading, we usually tell students to try and locate places in news in the atlas because that will really help them to answer questions. To master IR, one way is to have a grip over atlas.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
Dinesh,
That's
sir, please
correct.
continue.
Going with the next question, in the question number 45, this is the question that which we will be explaining the very first class because this is so fundamental. In last year, we have question about continental drift theory in mains. Now we have the same type of options that we have in the mains questions. Now it was shifted to prelims. The question was very simple. Either two options, the belt of the ancient rocks from the Brazil coast matches with that of the western coast. Yes, whatever the Brazil we have in South America and also western part of Africa, we have similar rocks and similar animals and similar flora and fauna. So that proves that continental drift theory is correct. If you look at the same second option, the gold deposits of Ghana and derived from the Brazil plateau, which were two continents laid side by side. Yes, Ghana is a place where we still have gold extraction taking place, and we have in so many movies also where Surya's movie where he goes to Ghana and where he takes the gold and diamonds. So even by watching the movies, you can get this particular option. The Gondwana system of
Aspirants should
sediments.
watch movies along with studies.
Yes, sir.
That's what
There are
you're
so many
suggesting.
movie references that we have to look after. So, and the third option is also correct. The Gondwana sediments from India is to have its counterparts in 6 different land masses in southern hemisphere because Australia, Antarctica, New Zealand, and our southern Africa, we are all together. We are all family once upon a time, but not now. So all the 3 options were correct, right, for this particular question. And the explanation is shown here, and it will be shared with you after this particular live session. So you don't need to take a screenshot here, or you can just directly open our YouTube link, which is shown in our Telegram groups also. And if you look at the next question, question number 46, it was easy question for that matter. Look at the statement 1 and 2, but they play with the options here. The amount of dust particles in the atmosphere is more in subtropical and temperate regions than in the equatorial and polar regions. We feel that there is more sun or more sunlight in the equatorial region, so we obviously see more dust. No, it's not like that, because in equatorial regions we have more forest, dust is covered or dust is stopped by the forest. So this particular option, first option, and look at the second option. I don't say first option is correct or not. Now look at the second option. Subtropical and temperate areas have very less dry winds. If you know first option, second option will be the explanation for the first option. So option 1 is correct, but look at the option 2. Subtropical and temperate areas have less dry winds. Here he says more dry winds. On the counterpart, he says less dry winds. So obviously both options can't be go together. So in subtropical areas, we have more winds. For example, Chinook wind or Fohn wind, or even in Thar Desert, we have these Lu winds coming. Right? Even if you have learned Indian geography or world geography, you will definitely solve this particular question. Right? So here option will be, see, statement 1 is correct, but statement 2 is not correct. So 46 is very easy. Just if you understand the statements, if you want to choose one option, you have to eliminate the second option, but you have to choose which one, which is not correct. That is very, very important. And going with the, as I have said you, key will be provided for you after this live session. In the comment section also, we'll be posting this link for this Google Drive. Now going with the 47th question. In January, the northern hemisphere, the isotherms, where we have similar type of temperature, bend equatorwards while crossing the landmass and polewards while crossing the oceans. Yes, first option in Sahara, you can see the best example in the first option. this is correct because as the sun moves either to the north, either to the south, the temperature also moves to the north and south. So he's asking about isotherm. Isotherm also moves to the north and south as per the sun. Imagine, don't even look at this option. This one statement will solve hundreds of questions like this similar. As sun moves, heat moves. Whenever heat is there, there you have low pressure. So that is where isotherms we generally see. And statement number 2, in January, the air over the oceans is warmer than over the land masses in the northern hemisphere. Yes, this particular is also correct. For example, that is the reason for deforestation. That is the reason for overgrazing. And particularly in the Sahel region, in the African areas, you will see this air over these oceans is warmer than in land masses in the northern hemisphere. So that's the reason Sahel areas were formed. That's the reason we have the deserts in this area. So this particular both statements 1 and 2 were correct in accordance with this particular options.
Dinesh sir, if I'm not wrong, isothermy is a topic which is, I think, keeping the students interested.
Yes,
there
sir.
are questions coming from this topic.
Yes, sir. Every year we get one question from this. Every year isotherm or isoheight or maybe monsoon. Every year this is a probable question that we often insist in class that even in online and offline classes, this is the topic that you should never forget. You can forget your name, but you should not forget the climatology concepts because that will be linked with all over the subjects.
You can
forget. UPSC never forget this.
Okay.
So going back to the next question, statement 1 and statement 2, statement 3. See here they asked about 3 statements and he links 2 statements with the other statements. So it is quite confusing. You have to take a minute time and solve it. In the context of effect of water on rocks, chalk is known as the very permeable rock, whereas clay is known as quite an impermeable or least permeable rock. Yes, chalk is permeable. It means like you just take a chalk piece which you have in your classroom, dip it in a water. Yes, it absorbs water. That's a basic thing that we do every day, or even the early morning when we see our outside, when our mothers or we itself, when we draw this chalk and all, we can see a very basic things has asked. But look at the second one. Clay is known as quite an impermeable or least permeable rock. See, you may ask like once if we have clay, yes, water can percolate into the clay. No, that is sand. That is, he's talking about clay. It is like a pot. It is not permeable, right? So clay is impermeable for that matter. If you talk about, he's not asking about clay soil, right? It is quite an impermeable. Now, if you look at option statement 2, chalk is porous. Yes, and it absorbs water. This is the correct option. And look at statement number 3. Clay is not at all porous. Now, clay is not porous and it retains water. That's the reason we can have this a pot. Why pot is so cool? Because it retains water. If you might have drank at least a glass of water, you can definitely solve this 40th question, right? Clay is not at all porous. Clay is not porous, but it retains water. So option 3 is also correct. But look, both statement 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. So this is correct. This both statement 2 and 3 will explain this particular statement, right? So porosity and permeability are 2 different things. Porosity means water percolating into any body. Permeability is having a cracks in the particular rock where water can percolate. So these are some technical jargon here and there we often get, but it is not so difficult. You can easily get this in any of the Goching Leong books also. I think you can see the explanation also here. Now look at 49th question. Without the atmosphere, the temperature would be well below freezing point everywhere on the Earth's surface. Yes, why Mars has positive temperatures of 400 and negative temperature at night, Mars temperature will be minus 200. But our Earth temperature is not like that because of the atmosphere. Right? Without atmosphere, surface will be frozen altogether. Yes, first option is correct. Heat absorbed and trapped by the atmosphere maintains our planet's average temperature. Yes, for example, if the atmosphere thickness is very high, like Venus, morning temperature, our temperature is hardly 30 degrees in Hyderabad or Bengaluru, or maybe like in Delhi, it will be 35 or 36. But Venus has 450 degrees temperature because of the thickness of the Venus. Let's say thickness of the atmosphere in Venus. So he's asking like this is applicable for Mercury, this is applicable for Venus, this is applicable for Earth. So if you learn the basics of universe things and all, see in universe again, don't just refer to the standard books. What is the rotation and revolution of the Mercury, Venus? He's not asking those type of questions. He's much into the depth analysis of what is atmosphere of Venus. Though he has not mentioned Venus here, it refers indirectly to that particular question. And third option, atmosphere gases like carbon dioxide are particularly good at absorbing and trapping radiation. Yes, CO2, best example, gases like CO2, they trap, and that's the reason we are having this heat. So in that case, 1, 2, and 3, all the options are correct, as you can see in the options here. And now going with the 90th question. Yes, we have some questions at the last. So I think Chaman sir, will you take over here? Then we'll again go with the geography. Yes. Or should I take over? Should I continue with the geography?
No, I guess after this we'll start history.
Yes, sir. It's okay, sir. I'll continue. I'll complete the geography.
Sir, would you like to say about this question? That's what Dinesh sir is saying.
No, sir. Should I continue, or will Chaman sir start any of the subject?
No. I think if geography is not completed, Dinesh sir, the students will want that the geography is.
Yes. No worries, sir. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, now we'll go with the 90th question. Production of crude oil. First option. Refining, storage, distribution of petroleum, marketing and scale of petroleum products, and production of natural gas. Now, these options were, if you look at these options, yes, you don't get clarity. Yes, the clarity will be in the next statement. How many of the above activities are regulated by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board in our country? Yes, for this to understand, Ministry of PNG, we call it as Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, you need to have a little bit of polity knowledge, not just geography knowledge, right? So polity knowledge is very much required. For example, here, the PNGRB, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board, that's very, very important. We often refer to that. So it does refining, it does storage, it does distribution, it does marketing, and it does sale of each and everything, right? So here, but one thing, sir, production of crude oil, it is not regulated. So production of crude oil, which is there in the first option, this is not regulated. But production of natural gas is regulated. So out of the 4 options, first option will be eliminated. So we are left with 3 options. Yes, we go with 3 options C. But look at here, Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulation Board does not go with the petrol because crude oil, because we need to import crude oil from various countries. We left it to various other ministries rather than confining it to the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory. Once crude oil is imported in India, once we started to convert crude oil into petrol, then it comes under the board. So see how tricky the questions were. Before import, one board. After importing, other board. So he went to that extent, like at what part of the stage, which board does it consider? So I felt like, oh my God, this is very tricky at that particular juncture of where people are giving examination. They will get confused in this particular question. I'm thinking
this makes me very curious. After you finish the questions, I'll really like you to answer that. What are the sources that you think these questions have come from? That's one thing, and students should refer to. And secondly, sir, please rate. Students would like to know, according to you, how were the questions of geography?
Sir, for the first question, if you would see, this question, for example, is nowhere mentioned, sir. Nowhere mentioned in this question except Press Information Bureau. If you open Press Information Bureau, after this, I have even checked Press Information Bureau today. This question was like directly there, directly in the sense that production of crude oil and all. Production of natural gas is taken by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory, but nowhere it said that production of crude oil, because crude oil we don't produce, we import majority from outside. So it is left to the global world itself. We don't regulate what prices it has to be. That's the reason it is not there in the GST also. Okay. For example, CNG is in GST, or say our LPG is in GST, but not crude oil. Our products are arising from crude oil. That's very, very important. Or if you apply this logic in exam also, you'll get this question.
Thank you,
now
sir.
Coming back, and one more question as you asked, sir. Majority of the questions are from our class notes. Of course, we make our class notes from NCRTs, from Savinder Singh, from Goching Leong, from various academy books, and also Telugu Academy books and IGNO books. Yes, we made these questions. But if you want to refer other than these books, I prefer Goching Leong book that you should not skip at all. And if you want to go much deeper analysis, you can refer Savinder Singh. Or if you want to go with the optional level, I prefer going with Kuller for Indian geography. But you don't need to go that much, right? Look at the questions, except one question or two questions, remaining all questions were like very basic, right? So yes, coming back to the 96th question. See, again, this is also like map pointing question it was, right? You have to know various types of time zones, right? United Kingdom, Denmark, New Zealand, Australia, Brazil. How many of the above countries have more than 4 time zones? This is a controversial question, I would say, because we have to check one more time, because UK has single time zone, but the territories of UK has multiple time zones. Similar with Denmark, Denmark has one time zones, but Greenland, islands of Greenland has different time zones. Same with New Zealand. New Zealand doesn't have more than 3 time zones. Australia also doesn't have more time zones. But Brazil is also having, Australia is having one more time zone in the Oceania region or Polynesia region. There are so many islands. So there we have different time zones. So as per the sources, we have like, we get 4, but again, we have to check it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that exactly how many time zones are there with New Zealand, because in different sources, even in the New Zealand ministry website, it says that they have different, like almost like 4 plus 2. So we have to check 4 plus 2, whether UPSC considers only 4 or 4 plus 2 it will consider. We have to wait. So I'm not exactly going with how many number of time zones we have here. So going with the next question. This is also a question with map pointing. Even you open map pointing, you will get it. Take Earth, divide it by 360 degrees. So each degree, how much time you have to travel for 1 degree, how much time it takes, or for 24 hours, how many degrees it has. So why? Because Andyar in Serbia and Nome in Alaska, these are 2 people, are few kilometers from each other. But when people are waking up and getting set for breakfast in these cities, it would be different days. Yes, because if we take the international date line here, the Siberia part and Alaska part, Alaska is in USA, Siberia belongs to Russia. Here to here, it is very less distance, but the problem is, once you cross this line, you will be losing a day. Once you crossing to the other side, to the west, the day is gained. So they are asking about very simple question. For example, if you look at this option, yes, they will be in different days, because there is a gap of almost 19 to 20 hours here. There is a gap. First option will be correct. But if you look at the second option, when it is Monday for Another and it is Tuesday for Nome, no, that's not correct, because actually Another is ahead of Nome in time. So if it is Monday for Nome, it is already Tuesday for Another. So this particular option is correct. This option is wrong. So the correct answer is 1 only. See, this type of questions is very simple. We often say, or we often call to our friends in Western countries, we ask, this first question is, what is the time there, rather than how
time there. Yeah, true.
So with that logic also, we are 5:30 hours ahead of GMT. And this particular Alaska and Canada are like almost 22 hours ahead of each other. True. If you apply that logic also, if it is Monday for one girl, or it will be obviously Tuesday for other one. So with that logic also, you can solve question second option. And first option is also very easy. So I given the explanation here. And look at the next question. Even this is also a bit map pointing related question, I'll say, because of the Donald Trump, the American president, he says that lithium ores are present in Chile. I will go and get all the lithium for my EV vehicles and all. He openly made the statement. And there is a Indonesia, where China is trying to get all the nickel from Indonesia. When lithium and nickel are taken by China and USA, we felt like what is left for us, right? So we also want to develop in EV resources. This type of resource rich, for example, out of 3 resources he has given, 2 are related to EV directly, and these 2 are in current affairs, right? And look at here, Botswana. Yes, Botswana is one of the largest diamond producers in one of the, I don't say the highest. South Africa is there, but Botswana is largest producer. Yes, that is correct. And Chile, lithium. Yes, Chile is very rich in copper and lithium. That's very, very important. And look at Indonesia. Indonesia is world's largest producer of nickel. This is also correct. If you look at that particular options, all the three are correct, right? So you should know where exactly in map pointing what type of minerals were there. In Atlas, you open either Orient, Blackstone, or Oxford. We have mineral atlases, mineral states, mineral countries. Separate map pointing will be there. So you have to refer not just boundaries, what type of minerals were found in different types of countries. That is also very, very important. And going with the last question of geography.
Sir, before you go with that question,
Sure.
you mentioned Donald Trump. I guess this year is the year of Donald Trump. His name is being taken everywhere. Even in UPSC's reference also, we are discussing him. Yes, sir, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. And look at this. Even this is a map pointing question again. See how many map pointing questions, sir. I think Prithvi sir will agree. In history also we have one map pointing question where we refer,
Right.
UPSC beautifully referred ancient India to the modern rivers.
Right, right.
Yes, now going here, Malacro, that is not, the option was given as Italy, but it is in Spain. They twisted with options. Normandy, which they said in Spain, but it is in France, right? Because in Normandy we have various Hollywood movies shooting taking place. It is very famous for beaches, the stagnant rocks we have, the arch rocks we have. All the James Bond movies generally happen in France because of this particular region in the Mediterranean region, right? It is shown in so many movies also, Normandy as in terms of place. And Sardinia, which they have said as France, no, but it is in Italy. It is one of the largest island of Italy. So all the three options are wrong because they exchanged these type. They mismatched all the options with region and country. So the option will be none of this, as you can see here. Yes, sir.
Yes, so guys, that was Dinesh sir, and that was very fluid explanation, sir. Thank you so very much. And as you can see on the screen, guys, we have the mentorship program running for the live batches, guys, only exclusive for 50 students for UPSC, TSPSC, APPSC. It will obviously be done by our founder of Shikara Academy as well as our mentor, Deepika ma'am. So guys, if you're interested, and I'll again mention this point, there are many other points mentioned over here, but one specific point. Well, I believe through my journey when I have been an aspirant and from last 10 years experience, I'll say you as an educator, if an aspirant gets proper mentorship at right time, he can pick up. He can really cross that journey very quickly from that aspirant to that administrative officer. So if you have to concentrate on any point, that's one-on-one live mentorship. And if you get opportunity to get trained by someone like Deepika ma'am having 20 plus years of experience, you should not miss that, guys. So you can call on the numbers given below and inquire about it. And now we will be discussing history questions, and that obviously I'll do. So let's start with it. So can you guys please confirm me? Is my screen shared now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. And I like the help of all of you because I really want it to be a bit more candid, as Dinesh sir was trying to make it. So guys, before we begin, as we have already talked about the live batches, you have the batches for UPSC CSE 2026 and 27. Obviously, if you're preparing for 27, this is the right time. For 26 also, it's not too late. Okay, so you can get going for the UPSC batches. Along with the UPSC batches, we have TSPSC Group 1, guys, and as well as TSPSC Group 2. These batches are already live, and we are also launching new batches for TSPSC Group 1 and Group 2, guys. You have free demo classes here. I repeat, free demo classes here. You don't have to pay for it. Just call on the numbers given below. Book your classes. Check the classes. I have in the morning session, I have already said that you can see our recorded classes also. where you'll see these questions have already been discussed. These polity questions, geography questions, history questions. You can go and check out that we have already discussed all those questions. And this is not only limited to UPSC students or for TSPSC students, also for the students of APPSC, whether you are in Andhra, whether you are in Telangana, or whether you're in any part of India, guys. You want it in English medium, you want it in Telugu medium, you want it in Hindi medium. We're trying to just give whatever is your requirement. So guys, again, you have the numbers given below, and you can inquire for the very same. Let's get started with UPSC prelims questions, especially of history. So this question, if you see, guys, well, if I have to talk anything about this question, the questions from southern India, especially from the medieval period, it's continuing, guys, and you should not miss any chance to go through them. And if you have gone through the Cholas, if you have gone through Rajendra I, if you have studied anything about him, okay, so you just need to understand. If I'll just go to the explanation slide, and if you can go through the last lines, none of the other rulers listed, okay, led campaigns against Sri Vijaya. Okay, that itself says, if you have done the thorough studies, this is what we have talked about. You need to go thorough. You cannot think that you'll just skim through the notes, and if you'll not make your notes, you want the notes for the toppers, you want the notes from somebody else, it's not going to help, guys. So Rajendra I Chola is something, it is straightforward. There's nothing to, explain about it, though the explanation slide is there. You can check from there. But getting on to the next question, and this is the question what Dinesh sir was talking about. Dinesh sir, this is the Mahajanpadas we are seeing
Yes,
here,
sir.
this side.
Yes.
Yes. And these are the rivers that we are seeing. And yes, Dinesh sir was rightly pointing it out, guys. When you're preparing for UPSC, you need to interconnect. Interconnecting is very important when it comes to UPSC. And application-based questions. These are the application-based questions that they talk about. If you see Asmaka and Godavari, okay, Asmaka somewhere in the Deccan regions and Godavari, you can think that yes, this can be correct. Cambodia somewhere around, you have to go around Afghanistan, okay. And Bipasa, oh sorry, Bipas, well, the Bias river that you must have heard about, it was in news for the Indus Treaty. So there seems to be a distinction from where Cambodia is and where Bipas is. So you can cross it out. Avanti and Mahanadi. Again, Avanti, it has to be somewhere around Madhya Pradesh, and Mahanadi, obviously, if you try to recollect, Odisha. So you need to cross this also out. Now, one point which makes it, gives it a touch of current affairs, guys, if you can see, Kosal and Saryu. Well, the Ram Mandir was in news, and Koshal and Saryu obviously related to the Ram Mandir or the Rama himself. So this is something which is correct. So if you have to go through it, the right answer over here will be B. That is, I'll just see the slides once, guys. Again, this number 1 is correct. Number 2, Cambodia and Bipas, we have already seen that's wrong. Then Avanti and Mahanadi, we have already seen that's wrong. And Kosal and Saryu that we were talking about. So the questions are also a part of current affairs. You also had the history, a part of it. And along with that, you had the geography. So you need to have a thorough basic knowledge about it. The next question, which you can see over here, I think this is the only art and culture question which I saw this time. We'll also seeing the other questions. So it talks about the first Gandharva Mahavidyalaya, a music training school, was set up in 1901 by Vishnu Digambar Paluskar. Well, guys, if you know this, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. Few of the aspirants whom I talked about, they crossed out Lahore, saying that all the other 3 are in India and Lahore is not in India. So how the Gandharva Mahavidyalaya or anything related to it has to do with Lahore. But then they should have also seen 1901. Okay. Pakistan was born in 1947, not 1901. Well, the right answer to it was Lahore. If you missed it, guys, and you used the wrong elimination technique, I'm very sorry for that. Then, guys, Ashokan inscription. If you have seen the previous year questions, if you have gone through it, Ashokan inscriptions are one of the most important trends that you can see. This is a topic which you should not miss. So you have these terms, Pradeshika, Rajuka, Yukta. Okay, these are where the important officers. Again, you need to know, you need to have the basic knowledge, what all the other esteemed educators have already said you. So district level administrator or the Yuktas and all, they were the district level administrators getting along with the questions. Non-cooperation movement, guys. This time, if you ask me, how were the history questions? For me, if you say history questions were more of easy than moderate. If you say tough, no, I'll not say tough. Few of the questions you might say that I was not able to solve, and it's UPSC. You cannot solve 100% of the questions. If you are saying that you can solve 100% of the questions and that was your ambition, then that's wrong ambition to keep. But for me, it was easy to moderate. And if you have gone deep into it, okay, this is something which we have discussed already. If my live batches students will watch, they will see. The Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be its objective. Guys, when we talk about the non-cooperation movement, we must understand one thing. Khilafat movement started. Khilafat movement started in India after the World War I ended because of the Caliphate or the Ottoman Empire. Okay, and the Ali brothers, okay, the ones who started the Khilafat movement along with others, they wanted Gandhiji to join in. And when Gandhiji joins in, at that very time, guys, he changes the motto or the objective of Congress. Okay, before whatever the objective was of the moderates, that is changed, guys. And so this statement, when you see Congress declared the attainment of Swaraj by all legitimate and peaceful means to be objective. Swaraj, that's the self-rule. So that is correct. Number two, it was to be implemented in stages with civil disobedience and non-payment of taxes for the next stage only if Swaraj did not come within a year and the government resorted to the repression. Again, very true, guys. Very true. Though we see non-cooperation movement was called off because of the Chauri Chaura incident, but it was planned by Gandhiji. It was planned already in the meeting that if the non-cooperation movement is not taking its pace at the right time, so we are going to start the civil disobedience movement. And in some parts of West Bengal, it was already started even. So even this is correct. So with that, we come to see both 1 and 2 is the correct answer. You can see the explanations over here. You can pause the video and see. Getting ahead, sedition has become my religion. Again, a question related to Gandhiji. Guys, Gandhi has been a topic which, whether they say, nowadays there is a trend that some people say, no, he is not the official father of the nation. No, he was not the one who gave us the freedom or not. But if you want the freedom in UPSC, don't neglect Gandhi. Whether you hate him, you love him, you need to, guys, read about Gandhi. That is very, very, very important. So you see, sedition has become my religion. If here...
Hey, sedition, otherwise also Tiwari ji has been in news.
True, ma'am. True.
Sedition has been constantly in news.
True. This is something what Deepika ma'am is rightly pointing out. And we have also seen this sedition charges. They say, people are saying that it was made when Britishers were there. So we need to bring a change in it. But if here was non-cooperation movement, guys, you might have got confused. Because this sedition has become my religion is something which Gandhi has repeated not only once, it has been repeated. But when we are talking according to the options that we have over here, then we will come to this, that is publicly violating salt law at Dandi. As you know, guys, when the civil disobedience movement was to start, Congress wanted that Gandhi should pick something which can unite everybody. And what better than salt? The untouchables need salt, the Muslims need salt, The Hindus need salt, the Sikhs need salt. Well, the upper caste needs salt, the lower class, the middle class, everybody needs. And so, guys, that was the thing which was selected by Gandhiji, the salt, making of the salt law at Dandi. And there, when he tries to goes to the Darsana salt works from here, he gets arrested. Okay. After that, it is tried by his wife Kasturba Gandhi, and then she also gets arrested. And then we see Sarojini Naidu. That's another chapter we'll discuss someday later. So at that very time, you have this statement coming up from Gandhi: sedition has become my religion. Okay, because there was sedition. He was doing something which was against the British laws. Okay, let's see the next question. The famous female figure. Now, I said in the morning also, if you are an aspirant, forget about you being an aspirant. If you are a school going student, have you seen this pic? If you have seen this pic, you must know the answer to it. So if you are an aspirant, again, I'll repeat what I said in the morning. It's a lollipop question. I don't know if you have done it wrong. Guys, there's something seriously wrong with your preparation. So that's the right answer. Bronze. It is. Who provided legal defense to the people arrested in the aftermath of Chauri Chaura incident? Now, here I'll say one thing to all the students, all the aspirants, serious aspirants. Guys, to be very frank and very fair to you, while we studied in schools, while we studied in the colleges, while we studied even in the standard books, most of the books, guys, you will only see the mention of Chauri Chaura in few lines where they just say that an incident happened in Chauri Chaura where the protesters there burnt alive 22 policemen. Okay, Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur in Uttar Pradesh. And because of this, non-cooperation movement was called up by Gandhi, because Gandhi was someone who strictly adhered to non-violence. Okay, but what about the aftermath? And guys, this also gives us a trend. If Chauri Chaura aftermath can be asked, then there are many other incidents. There are many other incidents, and you need to go through the aftermath of that too. So the right answer here will be, guys, Madan Mohan Malviya and Krishnakant. I'll not say it was very easy. Yes, it was easy for the repeaters. It was easy for the individuals who have thoroughly done their basics right, or they are preparing for last at least 1 to 2 years. For them, it was easy.
Sir,
Now, let's see.
small interruption here. Ma'am, we have a doubt in YouTube chat. They're asking about 10th question, ma'am, which is like zonal councils. Are they the establishment of zonal councils? Was it mentioned in the constitution, ma'am?
No. Zonal councils were actually recommended by the SRC. Justice Fazal Ali Commission recommended zonal councils, after which they were formed under the States Reorganization Act. 5 zonal councils. The 6th zonal council came into existence later for the Northeast. So zonal councils are statutory bodies. Interstate Council is a constitutional body. National Security Council is an extra-legal body. It's an executive body. Zonal councils have no bearing in the constitution.
Yes, actually, I think you got your doubt. Sir, Pratish sir, you can please continue.
Yeah, and there is another live viewer signing Swara asking for the cutoff. Guys, cutoff is varying according to all our educators. To me, if you ask, it's going to be somewhere from 80 to 90. But we will take a call on it by all our educators, exclusively from Deepika ma'am. Anyways, let's see this question, guys. Again, a question related to Gandhi. Guys, please be focused. Please. And understand one more thing. If Gandhi is being repeated, it means you need to go deeper into Gandhi. Okay. It's not going to be just skimming through and whatever has come. Okay. So that's very much required. Subsequent to which one of the following events, Gandhiji, who consistently opposed untouchability and appealed for its eradication from all spheres, decided to include the upliftment of Harijans in his political and social program. I'd like to take 1 minute for this. Again, I've discussed it in my live batches. It's already recorded. You can go and watch there. Understand one thing. We have the roundtable conferences from 1930, 31, 32. Okay. Gandhi only goes in 31. That also he goes because of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact, where they urge that if Congress is not there, how we are going to discuss on this. Okay. Now what happens after he comes from there? B.R. Ambedkar has already asked for the separate electorates for the untouchables, for the depressed classes. Okay. Now Gandhi didn't wanted the depressed classes to get separate electorates, because then they will be separated from the Hindus. This is what Gandhi wanted. Now there is a tussle. Gandhi goes on hunger strike. He's like, now I will not eat until and unless this communal award is taken away by the Britishers. Britishers say, अरे मेरा कोई रोल ही नहीं है भाई, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर मांग रहे हैं, मैं क्या करूं, डॉक्टर अंबेडकर को समझाओ. अभी people started to pressurize डॉक्टर अंबेडकर. भाई साहब, गांधी जी भूख हड़ताल कर रहे हैं, गांधी जी might die, you will be held responsible. Now that was the power of Gandhi then. And Gandhi, though he was in jail, Ambedkar has to succumb to him. Okay. And he has to compromise. And now what happened? Ambedkar puts forward a very minimal question to him. And the question is, I am an untouchable. I represent the depressed classes. What do you think, Gandhiji? Calling the untouchables Harijans is going to do best for them. This is what is your idea and Congress's idea to help the untouchables. So guys, that was it. Then Gandhi decides in 1932 that I am going to take a break. Yes, and he took a break for 2 years. And he started working for the untouchables. For 2 years, right away, he will also start a new association for the untouchables. So guys, the Pune Pact is the correct answer over here. And let's see the next question. Now, this is a question which, if you have gone through the advent of Europeans, okay, and when we see the advent of Europeans, you know who are the first who have come to India. Obviously, it is Portuguese. And when you know about the Portuguese, people know that tomato was brought by them. Some know that tobacco was also brought by them. Some also know that cashew was brought by them. But guys, papaya, pineapple, and guava were also brought by them. Yes, guava is not indigenous. Okay. So they used to take the spices from us. Okay. And through other channels, they used to bring all these things. So what is the right answer? The right answer is all three. All three fruits over here was the right answer. Now, I think we have come to the last question, and straightforward question.
Ji, before you go to the last question, I have a doubt.
Yeah,
do you think the question that you just discussed is off track?
Yeah, ma'am, it is. It is. It is off track. It is creating a new trend, ma'am. And obviously, I'll again rightly pointed out by you, ma'am. If there are students who are just preparing according to the trend, they should not have seen this. Okay. So, yeah, that is something true, ma'am. But yes, I have come to the my last.
But what happens with these off-track questions is students usually worry, how will I learn this question? So what is the answer that you're going to give? कहाँ से पढ़ना है? कौन सी book में लिखा होगा? ये कहाँ से दे रहे हैं?
Ma'am, if you have seen clearly, there is a tug of war going between Andhra Deputy Chief Minister and Stalin, Tamil Nadu CM. They both talked about this particular self-respect movement in their own public speeches in both the states, and it did become over a period of time, it became a national issue also.
True.
Yeah, that's right. And along with that, ma'am, if I always believe one thing: if you are solving 90% of the questions through your basic books, go through your basic books again and again and again. That is what even Deepika ma'am will agree, and she has told it numerous times. Okay, I have even heard that. So obviously aspirants know. If you're finding one question, supposedly last year or the year before, we had a question from Upinder Singh. That book is this thick. For one question, if you're going to go through this book, you are not a serious aspirant. Obviously, if you are done through with your revision, re-revision, recalling, then you can go for the extra references Otherwise, for 1 or 2 questions, again, guys, you don't have to get 100% accuracy. It's not about 100% accuracy. So that is something, as we were discussing, rightly pointed out by Dinesh sir, this was in the news for the self-respect movement. And if you know, you must know, Periyar here is the right answer. Okay. So with that, I have come to the end of my explanations. Before I give my esteemed colleague Chaman sir to discuss about the sciences, I'll once again like to talk to the aspirants, the serious aspirants again. Guys, please don't waste your opportunity. Don't waste your opportunity until and unless you are done with your foundation. If your friends or seniors or anyone is suggesting you, अरे एक attempt दे दो ना, एक attempt दे के देख लो ना, ये क्या है, खिलौना नहीं है ना. It's about your career. And if you're treating your career like this, कि एक attempt दे के देख लेते हैं, then I'm really sorry. You're not someone who is serious for it. So whether you're preparing for Andhra Pradesh or for the Telangana or even for the UPSC, guys, this is the opportunity for you. We are running batches for you. We are running free demo classes for you. We are running one-on-one live mentorship for you. This is the opportunity for you guys. And if you are not able to take advantage of it, it's you who will be responsible for it. Nonetheless, I'll ask Chaman sir to please take over from here for science and tech. Chaman sir, you're muted.
Okay, so yeah, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so good evening to all. So this year, as expected, UPSC has focused on current affairs in the particular science and technology section. So they have asked 17 questions this time. So we'll be discussing them one by one. So in this set B, so this is the set B, and we have the first question itself from science and tech. So now consider the following types of vehicles: full battery electric vehicles, the EVs, hydrogen fuel cell vehicles, and the fuel cell electric hybrid vehicles. How many of the above are considered as alternative powertrain vehicles? So what is the alternative powertrain? So an alternative powertrain is anything that is not an ICE engine. Internal combustion engine is the traditional engine to go to, is the traditional powertrain. Anything that is not ICE is considered as an alternative powertrain. So the battery vehicles, the EVs are alternative. The hydrogen fuel cell cars, like example, Toyota Mirai. Fuel cell electric hybrid vehicles are a hybrid of both fuel cell technology and electric technology. So all the three given, C option C is the correct answer. Okay. Now question number 2 we come. Yes. With reference to unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, they have been in use over the past 2 or 3 years and so. So all types of UAVs can do vertical landing. All types of UAVs can do automated hovering, and all types of UAVs can use battery only as source of supply. So this is a very straightforward question, and we can apply the elimination method because all the three statements here, they are making sweeping generalization. So, but we will be discussing something more like there are basically 2 types of UAVs. We have the fixed wing UAV, and we have multi-rotor UAVs. So the fixed wing UAVs are like your traditional airplanes. So they need a runway to fly, and they rely on forward motion for their airlift. Multi-rotor UAVs, on the other hand, they are like your helicopters and choppers. They can do the vertical takeoff and they can hover over the area. So out of these, all the three statements are incorrect. So the correct answer will be option D.
Chaman sir, we don't have any expertise in science and technology, so please don't expect that we are going to help
Yeah,
you
no,
in
it's
any of
okay.
the comments.
I'm just trying to erase this thing, like it's not getting erased properly. Okay, so moving on, let's move to question number 3. So in the context of electric vehicle batteries, consider the following elements: cobalt, graphite, lithium, and nickel. Now, how many of the above usually make up the battery cathode? So we know that cathode is the negatively charged and anode is the positive charge, is positively charged. So out of this, cobalt can be used as an cathode. Graphite is the exception. It is used to make the anode. Lithium is used to make cathode, and nickel can also be used to make cathode. So the correct answer here will be only 3, option C. Coming to question number 4. Consider the following: cigarette butts, eyeglass lenses, and car tires. How many of them contain plastic? I think it is one of the most easiest questions that has been asked by UPSC. So the correct answer here will be all 3, because cigarette butts, they have cellulose acetate. It is a type of plastic that is used to make the butts of the cigarette. In eyeglass lenses, in today's world, in the modern eyeglass, the eyewear lenses are made up of polycarbonate plastic. Earlier, the eyeglasses used to have glass, but the modern ones, the spectacles, we use the polycarbonate or the plastic lenses. They are more durable, scratch resistant, and etc. Car tires, even though they are predominantly made of rubber, but they also have an element of plastic in it. So the correct answer will be all the 3. Now we come to the question on coal gasification technology. Consider the following substances: ethanol, nitroglycerin, urea. Coal gasification technology can be used in the production of how many of them? So again, UPSC has tend to focus on these how many type of questions this year as well. So let's see this question. So coal gasification is the technology that is used to convert coal into what we call synthetic gas or syngas. Syngas is composed of carbon monoxide and hydrogen. So ethanol can be derived using coal gasification. Urea can be derived using coal gasification, but this nitroglycerin, directly it does not, we cannot get this glycerine from the coal gasification process. So the correct answer here will be only 2B only. Coming to, I think it is one of the question that many of the students might have failed to answer correctly. What is the common characteristic of the chemical substances generally known as Cl20, HMX, LLM105, which are sometimes talked about in the media? So no major current affair issue was there, but earlier this year, China was responsible to do something related to Cl20. They have developed some technology that can reduce the impact of CL20, something like that. They can suppress it. So these are basically the explosives used in the military. Option B. Coming to the seventh question, and we have the artificial intelligence into picture here. So it is expected that Majorna 1 chip will enable quantum computing. Majorna 1 chip has been introduced by the Amazon Web Services. Deep learning is a subset of machine learning. So I would say that elimination is not dead. So this is a question that is, if you don't know much about it, if you just even know that this Majorna 1 chip has been developed by Microsoft and not Amazon Web Service, then after eliminating option 2, you arrive at the right answer, that is C, 1 and 3 only. And we know this is the textbook knowledge, that is basic fact that machine learning is a subset of, that deep learning is a subset of the larger machine learning.
So we
Sir,
have the
we will be-
elimination working here, Chaman sir.
What?
We have the elimination trick working over here.
Yeah,
We
elimination
go
trick.
option number 3.
Yeah. So we
Sir,
go
these
with
type of
option number.
questions regarding quantum computing and chips and all, is Hindu paper sufficient, or should we go to any other sources other than this?
It's a basic classroom note along with the any of the current affairs source. I think the Hindu or the Indian Express, whichever you may follow, it's more than sufficient. Like, and for this particular question, like one more thing is that like how UPSC tends to frame questions. So in here, there was no much scope to make this question wrong. Just one thing was there, one factual information was said that Microsoft has made it and they modified it and tell it that Amazon has made it. So this was the scope, like अगर किसी के दिमाग की बत्ती जली कि okay, this can easily get manipulated, this statement like this, so he or she can derive at the correct answer.
True, sir. True.
Yeah, but you have to remain calm for reading something. Okay, so coming to next question from the immunology section or the biotech section, I would say, with reference to monoclonal antibodies, often mentioned in news, consider the following statement. There are man-made proteins. So antibodies are known as immunoglobulins in scientific term, and they are indeed protein molecules. They stimulate immunological function due to their ability to bind to specific antigens. This statement is also correct. They are used in treating viral infections like that of Nipah virus. Okay, this is a bit of dicey, I would say 50-50 statement. So they can be used in treating viral infections. The monoclonal antibodies, they are lab-made antibodies. But so far, we do not have any permanent or stable cure for this particular Nipah virus that UPSC has asked. So one way of looking is that it can be deployed in treating various viral diseases. But for Nipah virus, this statement they have 50-50% chance. So this is on UPSC, the onus is on UPSC, how they are going to proceed with it. Now, one more, a pretty straightforward question. No virus can survive in ocean water. A very sweeping generalization statement, and it is absolutely incorrect. Oceans are huge, and viruses, as of human, they can survive anywhere on Earth. And no virus can infect bacteria. This is also an incorrect statement. There are certain viruses known as bacteriophages that exclusively infect bacteria only. No virus can change the cellular transcription activity in host cells. This is also incorrect. The main survival mechanism of virus is that they tend to change the cellular transcription activity in the cell. And then the host cell starts producing more viral components and the infection spreads in the entire body. All these three statements are incorrect. We have asked the correct statement, so it will be option D.
Seeing the virus is reminding me of the coronavirus. And
Yeah.
nothing more. Yeah, sir, please continue.
Okay, so now we have a pretty long question, but it's long to read, but is very easy to decipher. Consider the following statement. Activated carbon is a good and attractive tool to remove pollutants from effluent streams and to remediate contaminants into various industries. This is the statement that we are given with, and we consider it is to be correct. Now we come to statement 2. Activated carbon exhibits a large surface area and a strong potential for absorbing metal. This statement is correct. When we say that activated carbon is a processed form of carbon with high surface area and many small pores, its surface area is enlarged. Activated carbon has larger surface area. Statement 3. Activated carbon can be easily synthesized from environmental waste with high carbon content. This statement is also correct. Waste like coconut shells or the wood, etc. As such waste products that have very high carbon content in them, so activated carbon can be easily synthesized with them. So when we come to options, like both statement 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. This option is correct because one, it is saying that they have a large potential to absorb heavy metals, and they are easy to synthesize. Both these statements correspond that activated carbon is a good and attractive tool. Being readily available and having the potential to remove the pollutants makes it a good and attractive tool to remove pollutants. So the correct answer will be option A. Coming to question number 54. GPS-aided geo-augmented navigation, Gagan, uses a system of ground stations to provide necessary augmentation. Which of the following statements is or are correct in respect to Gagan? So they have described Gagan here and have asked a question regarding Gagan. So they have asked 3 statements. It is designed to provide additional accuracy and integrity. It will allow more uniform and high quality air traffic management. It will provide benefits only in aviation but not in other modes of transportation. So this only word should ring a bell. That why it is able to do one thing and not the other thing. And it has been observed that UPSC knowingly makes such statements wrong.
True, sir.
So this statement is incorrect. So we can eliminate option A. We can eliminate option B. So first statement automatically gets correct. Now, it will allow more uniform, high quality air traffic management. So one do not see the science and technology question. They are more about the potential use of the technology. So we can see no reason why it will not allow a uniform and high quality air traffic management. This is designed for that only. So this statement is also correct. So our correct answer will be option D, 1 and 2 only. Moving on to one of the most current aspect of science, consider the following statements regarding AI Action Summit held in Grand Palais, Paris in Feb 2025. This summit, by the way, is co-hosted by France and India. Co-chaired with India, the event builds on the advances made in the Bletchley Park Summit held in 2023 and the Seoul Summit held in 2024. Along with other countries, US and UK also signed the Declaration on Inclusive and Sustainable AI. Which of the statements given above are correct? So the 2 statement questions, like they are left to come by these days, but glad UPSC asked this question. So this AI Safety Summit was held in 2023 in UK and 2024 in South Korea at Bletchley Park and Seoul respectively. And this year it was held by France and India and was held in Paris. So this statement is correct. Along with other countries, US and UK also sent the declaration. Now this, when reading this statement, you should be able to grasp that something is fishy in this statement. The way UPSC has put the statement over here, along with other countries, they could have simply write the US and UK signed the declaration, but they deliberately tried to maneuver the play with the words and make this statement sound odd. So in reality, US and UK abstained from signing this declaration. 60 countries have signed the declaration. So this statement is incorrect. So the correct answer will be option A. Moving on to question number 61. Some rare earth elements are used in manufacture of flat television screens and computer monitors. Statement 2. Some rare earth elements have phosphorescent properties. So fluorescent. The other word is they have the fluorescent properties. So they emit light when excited to a certain degree. Which of the statements following are correct? Both statement 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 correctly explains statement 1. So this is indeed the reality. Some rare earth elements are used to make the screens, to make the desktops and all that stuff. And because they have the fluorescent and the phosphorescent properties, they are used and they are deployed in making the screen. So this statement perfectly explains the statement 1. So the correct answer will be statement 1, statement A. Moving on to the next question. Yeah, railway accidents were in news for the past 2 years. And it's no surprise that UPSC has asked a question based on that.
Right.
Now, Indian Railways have prepared a national rail plan to create future-ready railway system by 2028. Kavach is an automatic train protection system developed in collaboration with Germany. Kavach system consists of RFID tags fitted on track in station sections. And now they have asked the not correct statement. So this national rail plan and this 2028. So this 2028 might also ring certain bell, because most of the things that the government targets, like will be completing it by 2030 or will be completing it by 2029 before the next Lok Sabha election, or they might take a longer duration target to complete it by 2047. So this 2028 makes this statement incorrect. Now, Kavach is completely indigenous and has not been developed in collaboration with Germany. So this statement is also wrong. It indeed uses RFID tags fitted on the track, and we have the Kavach system that is placed on stations as well. The locomotives, they also have the Kavach system. So this statement they are correct, and they have asked the incorrect statement. So option A is the correct answer. Now, one of the UPSC's favorite areas in science and tech are the space missions. So now consider the following space missions. Axiom 4, SpaceX, Gaganyaan. How many of the space missions given above encourage and support microgravity research? So most of the space programs, they include the research of microgravity. So this Axiom 4 is a NASA initiative, and it sends astronauts to the International Space Station. SpaceX was ISRO's docking experiment. So docking means ISRO launched 2 satellites and they clumped with each other, they get attached with each other in the outer space. Gaganyaan is India's upcoming mission to send humans to the space orbit. Out of these, Axiom 4 and Gaganyaan, because they include the aspect of human space flight, so they support and they encourage microgravity research. So only 2 will be the correct answer. SpaceX, when we visit the ISRO's website, on SpaceX, they do not explicitly has mentioned that microgravity is a part of the mission. So we are dropping SpaceX from this current question. Moving on to the second last question of science and tech. This is mainly from the defense area, defense equipment and defense tech. Matching, we are given 3 aircraft and we are giving their description. So the Dornier 228 aircraft is a maritime patrol aircraft. IL-76 supersonic combat aircraft. C-17 Globemaster 3 military transport aircraft. So Dornier 228 is a multi-purpose aircraft. And one of its variant is used for maritime patrolling. So this makes this statement, this matching correct. IL-76 is a Soviet era, or I would say Russian military transport aircraft. So this matching is wrong. C-17 Globemaster 3 is, I think, the biggest plane in the world that is used to transport military from one place to another, or the military battle tanks or something like that. It is a military transport aircraft. So only 2 statements are correctly, only 2 are correctly matched. Moving on to the last question.
Sorry to interrupt, Chaman sir,
Yes,
and
sir.
to all educators also. Guys, we need to hurry up a bit because we need to also go for the CSAT analysis. Okay, so all of you get ready with whatever the slides and all the other questions which are left. And Chaman sir will also request you to please hurry up a bit. Yes.
Yeah, sure. So this is the last question of science and tech, and
Okay.
mainly it can be overlapped with the environment, because artificial way of causing rainfall, the artificial rain is aimed at reducing air pollution, and it make use of. So it's a straightforward question. You can't eliminate something like that. If you know that silver iodide and potassium iodide are used, so the correct answer will be option A. Along with this, we can also use the solid CO2, also known as dry ice. So that's it from the science and technology section.
Well, guys, that was Chaman sir that you saw that very fluidly explained the answers for the science and tech. And now I guess we'll go to economy. Am I right, Dinesh sir?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so handing it over to Dinesh sir. And again, I'll request to all the educators, because we need to get the CSAT analysis also very quickly. So if we can wrap it quickly. Yes, please, Dinesh sir.
Yes, sir. Just a couple of seconds. Yes. I think you can see my screen over here, sir.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
So this year, economy questions were completely different in one term, for that matter, 2 terms. First one, none of the questions were from the standard books. Whatever the books you say, I don't want to name any book. They are not from there. They're from very much in the PIB information, Press Information Bureau website. And also, you have to apply a bit of common sense to solve these type of questions. For example, the first question which I'm showing you here is very simple. I think even your parents might have been also known this particular question, because it talks about investment funds and alternative investment funds. For example, you earn some money, where do you invest? So obviously, you can't keep everything in a pocket, right? Or say in bank. So we do invest in bonds and stock markets, which has been increased after COVID. But have you ever heard of hedge funds and venture capital funds that each and every person around us talks about it? No. These are alternative investment funds. For example, if you open any Grow app or any Zerodha app, any app for that matter, investments, you will find bonds, invest in stock markets, but never you find venture capital or hedge funds. No, nothing like that. So going with option 1 and 3, we have only 2 options that are correct. He is not asking about which one is correct. He is asking how many are correct. So 2 options were correct. Set only 2. Right, and here is explanation. And going with the next question, this talks about which of the following are the sources of income for the Reserve Bank of India. Right, recently, just 10 days back, the Reserve Bank has given some money to the Central Bank of India because it has earned money from different perspectives. And I don't think this question was framed 10 days ago, but this is some kind of that question. Buying and selling of government bonds, yes, that is the main perspective where it will get money. RBI will get money and it will give to the central government. Buying and selling of foreign currencies, pension fund management, pension funds and are managing the pension funds, RBI won't get money. This will be eliminated. And lending to private companies, how can RBI give money to private companies? Then what is SBI for? Then what is HDFC for? So this option is eliminated. And printing and distributing currency notes. Yes, we generally call it as seigniorage, which is like if you print 100 rupee note, the cost for printing will not be 100 rupee. It might be around 10 rupees or 12 rupees. So remaining thing is a money. It's not a profit, but that money will be given to the central government. Right? It is lower than the face value of the particular currency note, but that profit will be shifted to the government. So for that matter, removing 3 and 4. So we have option D, 1, 2 and 5. So this is the option. And this is explanation, as you can see in detail analysis if you want to get here. And there is one more question number 33. It looks like very complex question, but here you need to have factual. Without facts, this doesn't work. You can't apply directly here. You should know certain facts. For example, Director of Enforcement, right? And what does it function? It functions on enforcement of the Fugitive Economic Offences Act. Yes, this is correct. Internal Security Division. It works under Internal Security Division? No, it does not work under. It works under Internal Security Division. No, that's incorrect, right? The Enforcement Director actually works under Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance, okay? And Directorate of Revenue Intelligence. If you take the next question, it functions, yes, it enforces the provisions of Customs Act 1962. And yes, it works under the Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. So these 2 options are correct. See how the probability, you should know 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 things to solve this particular question. So if you are not confident in any of the options, it's better leave this question rather than going and unnecessarily carrying negative marks with you. And third statement, Directorate General of Systems and Data Management. See, this is generally, we won't have it, but in terms of technology savvies or who are very much dependent on technology, they often hear this word particularly. Carrying out big data analytics to assist tax officers for better policy and nabbing tax evaders. So this is not the regular economy or regular polity. It is beyond polity and economy. New departments that are included in Ministry of Revenue. Yes, Revenue Ministry, or say Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance is correct. So we have 2 options correct. The first one is wrong. So in that case, B, only 2 will be the correct answer. If you go with the next question, here is explanation. Consider the following about the Reserve Bank. Again, Reserve Bank question they have asked about. Look at it. The Reserve Bank of India mandates all the listed companies in India to submit a business responsibility and sustainability report. As Chavan sir just now said, whenever there is extremes of question, only or all, right? You have to keep doubt on this. Do you think everything is considered? Reserve Bank have all the powers. First of all, it is not Reserve Bank. It is SEBI which takes care of this business responsibility and sustainability report, right? Whatever things they have. So this one is wrong. Now look at the statement number 2. In India, companies submitting BRSR makes disclosures in the report that are largely non-financial in nature. Yes, this non-financial, which is focusing on environment, social, governance aspects. See, in economy, we have these aspects that only one report in the whole economy subject that concentrates on environment, society, social issues and governance, not of you and me, but for the companies environment, company social, companies governance. So that is correct. So here we have only option 2. I don't know whose screenshot it is. They have done majority of the questions correct. Maybe they'll clear this particular exam. Now going with the next question, 35. In India, income from allied agricultural activities like poultry, farming, and wool rearing in rural areas is exempted from any tax. This statement looks confusing because agriculture we know, but does poultry come? Does wool rearing come in rural areas? Yes. In urban areas, again, wool and particularly poultry in urban areas is taxed, but poultry in rural areas is not taxed. So this much of depth analysis is needed if you want to solve this type of questions, or else don't attempt this particular type of questions, again ending in negative aspects. So statement 1 is correct. Yes, in rural areas you have to find the keyword here, not just wool and poultry, rural areas, right? In second statement, in India, rural agriculture land is not considered a capital asset under the provisions of the Income Tax Act 1961. Yes, this is very, very correct, because if that is treated as if that is taxable, then throughout India, all the 55 to 60% of the farmers which we have in India will be taxed. So we can't do that, right? So both statements are correct. But here he's asking about, will any of the statements justify other statement? See, both statement 1 and 2 are correct, but statement 2 and statement doesn't relate, right? So we go with option B here. This is the explanation. And next, question number 36. India has joined the Mineral Security Partnership as a member. Second option, India is a resource-rich country in almost like 30 critical minerals that has identified. And third one, the Parliament in 2023 has amended the Mines, Minerals, and this particular act, as you can see, 1957 Act, recently it has been amended. Now look at this. First option, India has joined Mineral Security. Yes, it was done in 2023. I don't say recently, but yes, last year. So you have to remember the current affairs of not just 1 year. You have to go much beyond it. 1.5 year current affairs were also last year. And just look at the statement. If you have a basics of economy or geography, will directly eliminate this. How can all the 30 critical minerals have been there in India? We import from Africa, we import from South America, we import from various countries. So this is extreme question. This will be wrong. Even though you don't know the concept, you can directly go with wrong option, because extreme options will not be always be correct, or majority of the cases it will be wrong. So third question, because there is strontium, there are so many minerals which are not available with us. The Parliament, and this is correct. So in 2023, again, this amendment was allowed for critical minerals. So option 1 and 3, yeah, C is option. So eliminating option 2, 1 and 3 will be the correct answer. And look at the next question, question number 37. So consider the following statements. As regards return from an investment in a company, generally bank holders are considered to be the relatively at lower risk than stockholders. Yes, obviously stockholders, even if you go to movies, there are mutual funds advertisement which is that stock markets or maybe mutual funds are subjected to market risk. So we are the stockholders. Obviously we do risk. From the past 6 months or when Donald Trump has come, all our portfolios have been suddenly decreased, right? So there is a risk. Bondholders, obviously we have a limited time, 1 year. Till 1 year, no one can do anything of your savings. So bondholders are obviously safe, but their returns are quite low. If you want to invest, if you want to take risk, then go with stockholders. If you don't want to take risk, if you want to save money for your next generations, go with bondholders, or go with bonds. So first option is correct. Go with the second option. Bondholders are lenders to the company, whereas stockholders are its owners. Yes, bondholders means lender, stockholder means owner. You are giving certain amount of money for an agreement called bond. But stockholders, you are owning that certain amount of money in Bajaj Finance, or maybe in TCS, or maybe in CTS. You are purchasing certain amount of stock. You are the owner. That's the reason you are called stockholders. Meetings also been done. So the second option is also correct. Third option, for repayment purposes, bondholders are prioritized over stockholders in a company. Yes. For example, if there is a collapse of the particular company, bonds will be made in 100 rupee stamp or 200 rupee stamp. But if you open your app, or Zerodha, Grow app, or any particular 5 paisa app, is there any guarantee there? No, just uninstall, gone. Everything is gone. So it's not just about that, but bond has a guarantee on a stamp paper, not just stamp. SEBI says that, and RBI says that, yes, certain amount will be given. If in terms of liquidation or in terms of bondholders, certain amount will be given. So here, both the options 1, 2, and 3 are correct. But look at the options. It's not about which is correct option. Both statement 2 and 3 are correct, and both of them explain statement 1. Yes, both of them will explain statement 1, right? So see how tricky. So level 1, level 2, 2025, level 3 was asked here. 2, will it be equal to 3? Now going with the next question. India accounts for very large portion of all equity options contracts traded globally, thus exhibiting a great boom. Yes, India is expanding. India is going to the Western countries in terms of equity, right? Contracts, and globally we are trading our own commodities in Western countries, and Western countries people are exhibiting their commodities in our Indian in terms of FDI and FII. Now going with the second statement. Indian stock markets has grown rapidly in the recent past, even overtaking Hong Kong's at some point of time. Yes, after COVID, when there is a sudden fall of Indian markets, and minus 23.9 is a downfall in one of the quarters near COVID, and we have rose to such point, plus 23 we have gone until plus 12 we have gone. So this much amount of rise no country has seen in the after World War II. So this is what the potential of development of India. That's the reason he asked about these questions. This is the third such question regarding stock markets and bond markets. So yes, current affairs trends is highly followed in UPSC, particularly in terms of economy, and he has done justification. So statement 2 is correct. And statement 3, there is no regulatory body either to warn small investors about the risk of options. Yes, you purchase, for example, 10 days back I purchased the stock. Suddenly it collapsed to 10 rupees from 20 rupees. So no one has said me that this purchase, this is a risky element or this is a non-risky element. There is no regulatory. That is the biggest pitfall. But look at carefully. There is no regulatory body either to warn the small investors about the risk of options traded or to act on unregistered financial advisors in this regard. But for us, it is not there. But for financial advisors, it is there. See how tricky they have made. For financial advisors, it is there. Even for unregistered financial advisors, it is there. In SEBI website, you see the warnings that are given is nothing but it is those rules and regulations apply to each and every common man, right? So SEBI is a regulatory body, may not be for small investors, but for everyone. So here option 3 is half of the option is correct and second half of the option is wrong. So SEBI is there. So here only option 1 and 2 are correct, right? And going with the next one, it's about circular economy. Circular economy, even in movies, we have this famous dialogue saying that once you are poor, your health cannot be, you can't invest in health and sanitation. If you couldn't invest in health and sanitation, again, you have to become poor. So that is what circular economy. Now people are talking that circular economy to global warming and greenhouse gases. Yes, circular economy reduces the emissions of greenhouse gases. Yes, it do reduce because you consume less. You consume less commodities. So obviously when you consume less, for example, there is a AC and you have not switched on. So obviously indirectly you are reducing the greenhouse gas. So statement 1 is open-ended statement. There is a probability of correct options in this open-ended statement, and here in this case this is correct. Now circular economy reduces the use of raw materials as input. Yes, that is what circular economy is. Don't purchase every time. Recycle, reduce, reuse. Right? This is what we have in every electronics, right? If you are listening in this phone or laptop, turn your laptop. You can find the circular economy symbol that is shown, right? So second option is correct. Circular economy reduce wastage in the production process. Yes, it reduce wastage in production. It even insists us use less or reuse, right? So all the options are correct. But both statement 2 and 3 correct, but both of them explain statement 1. Yes, both of them explain statement 1. So this 2 is nothing but circular economy, right? And look at question number 40. In 40 question, we have capital receipts create a liability or cause a reduction in the assets of the government. Yes, capital receipts either increase the liability, right? Borrowing, for example, it will increase the liability or reduce the asset. Disinvestment, is it not your investment reduced if you disinvestment or if you remove everything? So capital receipt, yes, it will create either liability or reduction. Correct. First option is correct. Borrowing and disinvestments are capital receipts. Obviously, our borrowings and disinvestments are clear example. It is no capital receipts. No, you take something, you invest something, you disinvest something. That is capital receipt. No, you invest. You're giving something money to a particular person, right? You are getting something out of that. What we call it as disinvestment. Yes, it is also capital receipt. But look at statement 3. Interest received on loans creates a liability for the government. No, how can it be? It is revenue receipt, not capital receipt. So this is incorrect because it is not a liability. It's not a liability for the government. It's opposite, right? So statement only 1 and 2 correct. Third option is wrong. It's a very basic economy that says that if you're giving money to someone, what is it? If you're taking money from someone, what is it? It was a complete question in 2024 UPSC. Now it was only one option in 2025. And here is the answer. You can just have a look after this particular video gets published. And look at this mathematical question. Yes, you heard it right. This is a maths question. Because in economy, he asked about maths question. You have to do some calculations. For example, revenue deficit, fiscal deficit, or effective revenue deficit, or primary deficit. All these definitions you have to remember. None of the, like from the past at least 12 to 13 years, this type of questions were never asked. Never asked, never ever asked. Now let's solve this problem within a minute. Revenue expenditure, he said 80,000 crores. Revenue receipt, some 60,000 crores he has said. And also borrowings, 10,000 crores. Now what he's asking you? He's asking three things. Revenue deficit is asking, fiscal deficit is asking, primary deficit is asking. Okay, now revenue deficit. Just minus this 80,000, 60,000 minus from 80,000. That's it now, 20,000. So revenue expenditure minus revenue receipt. That is what your revenue deficit. So that is 20,000 crores. Correct. Fiscal deficit. So total expenditure minus total receipts. Right? So how much is that? 10,000. Obviously 10,000. Next, go for the third option, primary deficit. Primary deficit is fiscal deficit minus interest payments. So what is that? 10,000 is your fiscal deficit. Interest payment is 6,000. 10,000 minus 6,000, 4,000. So here, first option is correct, second option is correct, third option is correct. Look at this, the depth. You should know what are the definitions, and you have to do basic calculations also here. So this is a like multi-complex question. And I've made all the calculations here. If you have time, go and read each and every topic here. And now going with the next question. India is one of the founding members of the International North-South Transport Corridor, INESTC, a multimodal transport corridor with which will connect what with what. Yes, this is very simple. India to Central Asia and to Europe, right? This is very important. India to Central Asia and Europe via Iran, right? We are looking for the alternative routes of Pakistan. We can't go, we can't enter into Afghanistan because our northern part of POK was occupied by Pakistan. Of course, we'll get it later, but now right now it is occupied. So we have to find the other route. Through Iran, we have found it. From Iran, we are going to say Iraq, and then to West Asia, north of West Asia, and then to Europe, Azerbaijan, and then to Europe, and then to Central Asia, right? So we are having this route. So this is option A will be the correct, right? India is one of the founding members. Yes, India is the founding member in this North-South Transport Multimodal projects. And going with the next option, look at this. This looks like very big question, but yes, it's not like that. Statement 1, if you see, one of the two major ethanol producers in the world, Brazil, yes, and United States of America. The former produces more ethanol than latter. Yes, America obviously produces more ethanol than any other country in the world. That's true. That's true that everyone should accept because he is a legend. He is a legend of ethanol production because he don't want to depend on West Asia. He is producing its own oil. That is what ethanol is. Ethanol blending, E20. Now, second option. Ukraine, unlike in the United States of America, where corn is the principal feedstock for the ethanol production, sugarcane is the principal feedstock for ethanol production in Brazil. We all know that Brazil has sugarcane is the highest production happens in Brazil, after that India. So obviously what he'll do, right now he is clearing all the sugarcane plants and converting that to ethanol. He's not making that as sugarcane and sugar. Sugarcane juice or hardly sugar, how much it will be? Hardly 1 kilo for Indian currency, 50 or 60 rupees. But ethanol will be 100 times costlier than sugarcane. So obviously people are moving towards ethanol production. So both these statements are true. And in case, look at this. Statement 2 explains statement 1. How does it explain statement 1? He is talking about comparative study in statement 1. Statement 2 is saying that which country is producing more. So no, they don't explain each other. Both are correct, but they are not explaining each other. Now look at this. This is like a bit of geography plus economy question. World Bank warned that India could become one of the first places where wet bulb temperatures routinely exceed 35 degrees. Yes, once wet bulb temperature exceeds 35, because I'm not going to the concepts of wet bulb temperature, dry bulb temperature, humidity, and relative humidity. That will be a very long concept. But once 35 degrees it is crossed, you start sweating. All the moisture from your body comes out. If you stay like that, you will be dehydrated, and there is a possibility dehydration even led to the death. World Bank warned strictly that India, you have to reduce your temperature, you have to stop, your greenhouse gases emission. It was recently said, hardly like 10 to 15 months back it was said. So now going with that particular question, peninsular India will be more affected because we have more moisture in our particular area and also heat. So peninsular India will be more affected, flooding will be there, tropical cyclones and droughts will be there. And similarly, survival of animals, including humans, will be affected as shedding of their body heat through precipitation becomes difficult. Yes, it is very difficult once shedding heat from your body, that's very dangerous. Okay, so here both options 1 and 2 are correct, and explanation is there here. If you want, you can just have a look at this. And again, we have one more max question, CSAT question, where mistakenly it was made in economy. So a country's fiscal deficit stands at 50,000 crores, and it is receiving a 10,000 crores through non-debt creating capital receipts. The country's interest liabilities are 1,500 crores. What is the gross primary deficit? See how the questions were. Again, you have to look like you have to imagine as if you are the budget minister or finance minister, and you have to solve these questions. Generally, UPSC aspirants don't solve this type of questions. Never it was asked. Is it, sir? Prachu, sir, never it was asked in UPSC.
Yeah.
So now going with the application here, fiscal deficit how much? 50,000 crores, he said, and non-debt capital, and N capital I'm writing, N debt capital is 10,000 crores. So interest liability is 1,500 crores. So simple. What is the primary deficit? Fiscal deficit minus interest payments. So 50,000 minus 1,500. Sorry, 50,000 minus 1,500. That is 48,500. So that is your answer. Right? Only to confuse you, he has given that it is receiving 10,000 crores for non-debt creating. Why non-debt creating is there in capital receipts? Right? So a very simple question. Right? And we have one more question. Which of the following statements with regard to the recommendation of the 15th Finance Commission? I think ma'am has, Deepka Reddy ma'am has already solved this question. So I'm skipping it for this because it is considered as polity and academic question. So yes. And next, 77th question, consider the following statements in respect to International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. Yes, this is very, very important. IBRD, because we are getting funds from IBRD. It gives loans for India, particularly to middle income countries. Yes, first statement is true. And second statement, it works single-handedly to help developing countries to reduce poverty. Yes, we are getting so much amount of money. Even Andhra have received certain money and Jharkhand have received certain money from IBRD. This is important. Even if you have your own state current affairs, you can solve this question. Next, third question, it was established to help Europe rebuild after World War II. Yes, this is true. That doesn't mean that it is made only for that, because the World War issue, the development issue was done. Now it is helping the remaining countries also, right? In different aspects and different names, but okay. So this is also true. Here both 1, 2 and 3 are correct. Right? And this is very, very important question because this is most applicable question here. We all go to bank, we all do transfers and fundings. So RTGS and NEFT, that everyone might have been either paid or received. So you will be connected to this question. In RTGS, the settlement time is instantaneous, while in case of a NEFT, it takes some time to settle. Yes, that's the reason immediate payment and RTGS were instantaneous. So RTGS is a real time, but NEFT is a batches. It's like, for example, you make a check. So for below 3 o'clock, one batch will be there. After 3 o'clock, other batch will be there. It is not continuous. It's not instantaneous. NEFT is not instantaneous, right? So first option is correct. Next, second option. In RTGS, the customers is charged for inward transaction, while that not in case of NEFT. Yes. In customers, in terms of RTGS, a customer who is receiving, no, they have to pay certain amount of money. So customers charged for inward transactions. In NEFT, that is not the case. So second option also correct. In third option, RTGS operates 24/7, right? But recent update, NEFT is also made as 24/7. But this, please check once. 1 and 2, yes, this is correct. But third option, RTGS is operates 24/7, no holidays for RTGS, also no public holidays, everything. But NEFT, once upon a time, or say even like before COVID, it was working only in few days, and Sundays it won't work. But I'm not sure that this particular thing was updated or not. So please check this particular option. If that is correct, 1 and 2 should be there. But the 1 and 3, 1, 2, 3 option was not only there here. So I will go with B option 1 and 2 here. So this is thing, and we go with the last questions of economy. Here you can see, consider the following countries: United Arab Emirates, France, Germany, Singapore, Bangladesh. In which of the countries UPI is used? Yes, UAE. We are the best friends of UAE. Recently, Narendra Modi, Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, went there and made sure that we use UPI payments there. Bangladesh openly said we won't use UPI. Don't even think about it, right? And Singapore, yes, Singapore is also one of the country which is very closely financially related and is also tax haven. So UPI is accepted. Germany said yes, we don't use UPIs here. So France, yes. So two countries don't use. So only three countries have this. So this completes our economy, which is very simple, not so complex that you cannot solve. A basic sense of common sense, and also NCERT knowledge, and any class notes will suffice majority of the questions here.
Thank you so much, Dinesh sir. And now we will continue with the environment questions, which will be followed with the international relation, and then we'll end with miscellaneous question. Once again, I'll urge all the educators to hurry up a bit, because we need to also go with the CSET analysis. Yes, Chaman sir, you're muted.
Okay. So shall I start? Okay. So in environment, UPSC has asked only 11 questions this year. Like it's a dip from the past trends that we can see. And the question number 1 states, statement 1, studies indicate that carbon dioxide emissions from cement industry account for more than 5% of the global carbon emissions. Silica bearing clay is mixed with limestone while manufacturing cement. Limestone is converted into lime during clinker production for cement manufacturing. So we take this first statement as correct. And now, silica bearing clay is mixed with limestone in the manufacturing process. In the cement manufacturing process, indeed, the silica bearing clay is rich in silica, is mixed with limestone to give cement. It is a process. So this statement is correct. Limestone is converted into lime during clinker production for cement manufacturing. This statement is also correct. So the process by which limestone gets converted to lime releases CO2. And this statement, this release of CO2 explains the carbon dioxide emissions from cement industry account for more than 5% of global carbon emissions. So the correct answer will be option B. Both statement 2 and 3 are correct. But only one of them explains statement 1. That is, only the statement 3 explains statement 1, not the statement 2. Moving on to the next question. Question 12. At the 18th United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP28, India refrained from signing the Declaration on Climate and Health. The COP28 Declaration on Climate and Health is binding declaration, and if signed, it becomes mandatory to decarbonize the health sector. If India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of its healthcare system may be compromised. Which one of the following statements is correct in respect to the above statement? So, first of all, this statement is correct. At the COP28, India refrained from signing this declaration on climate and health. But this declaration is not a binding declaration, it is voluntary. So the statement 2 is incorrect. And the statement 3 is very speculative statement. Very speculative, very, very vague or nonsense presumptions are there that if India's health sector is decarbonized, the resilience of the healthcare system may be compromised. Why so? it is not necessary that it will be compromised. So this statement is also incorrect. So the correct answer will be option D. Neither statement 2 nor statement 3 is correct. Moving on to the next question. Scientific studies suggest that a shift is taking place in the Earth's rotation and its axis. So this is our statement that we have assumed. Solar flares and associated coronal mass ejection bombarded the Earth's outermost atmosphere with tremendous amount of force of energy. As the Earth's polar ice melts, the water tends to move towards the equator. So the statement 1 is correct. Solar flares are associated with this statement is also correct. And as the polar ice, because of the global warming, because of the climate change, the polar ice sheets are melting, the water tends to move towards the equator. Water is moving towards the equator. This statement is also correct. But what we have to note is that the statement 2 is not explaining the statement 1. The coronal mass ejections do not tell us why there is a shift in Earth's rotation and its axis. But the mass movement of water from poles to equator, this mass redistribution is having an impact. It is having an impact and it is shifting the Earth's rotation and its axis. So the correct answer will be option B. Both statement 2 and 3 are correct, but only one of them explains statement 1. The statement 3 explains statement 1, not statement 2. Moving on to the next question. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change is frequently discussed in global discussion on sustainable development and climate change. This is our assumption. This is correct. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change sets out principles for carbon markets. This statement is also correct. Article 6 of the Paris Agreement on Climate Change intends to promote inter-country non-market strategies to reach their climate targets. This statement is also correct. And both of them, both statement 2 and statement 3, they are explaining statement 1. See, it sets out the principles and it promotes the inter-country and inter-market strategy. That is why it is frequently discussed in global discussion. So both statement 2 and the statement 3 explains statement 1. So the correct answer will be option A. Moving on to the next question. Now this is a direct current affairs based question. Which one of the following launched the Nature Solution Finance Hub for Asia and Pacific? So it is of Asia and Pacific. The correct answer will be the Asian Development Bank. IBRD will not do because it is specific to Asia and the Pacific. So this thing happened this was launched in December of 2023. So 1.5 years of current affairs has been asked by UPSC here. And what this Nature Solution Finance Hub targets is that it targets to attract an investment of 2 billion in nature-based solutions. The target is to correct $2 billion for the nature-based solutions for the different climate change and something like that. Moving on to the next question. The direct air capture. With reference to direct air capture, it is an emerging technology. Which of the following statement is correct? It can be used as a way of carbon sequestration. It can be a valuable approach for plastic production and in food processing. In aviation, it can be a source of carbon for combining with hydrogen and create synthetic low carbon fuel. So as we have discussed, like it is a technology. It's a science-based technology, and science-based technology, they have a very broad or vast potential. So, and these statements are not sweeping statements. Every statement has written it can be, and it can be. Yes, the potential is there, and there is a possibility that it indeed can be used. So all the three statements are correct. We see no particular reason why one of the statements should be incorrect. So the correct answer will be option C, 1, 2, and 3. Moving on to the next question. As expected, UPSC has picked up a species question this year as well. Regarding the peacock tarantula or the gouty tarantula, consider the following statement. It is an omnivorous crustacean. Its natural habitat in India is only limited to some forest areas. It is in its natural habitat, it's an arboreal species. So the any tarantula is a type of spider and is not a crustacean. And this peacock tarantula is insectivore, not omnivore. So the first statement becomes incorrect. Its natural habitat in India is only limited to forest areas. Now, more often when we read the statement as the word option only, we tend to mark it incorrect. But in this case, this statement is indeed correct. In some forested area of Andhra Pradesh, the natural habitat of this peacock tarantula is found. And in its natural habitat, it is an arboreal species. This statement is also correct. An arboreal species is a species which lives on trees. So statement 1 is incorrect, and they have asked the correct statement. So option B will be the right answer. Moving on to the next question. Question number 18. Carbon dioxide emissions in India are less than 0.5 ton CO2 per capita. In terms of CO2 emissions from fuel consumption, India ranks second in Asia Pacific region. And electricity and heat production or heat producers are the largest sources of CO2 emissions in India. So this first statement, according to the International Energy Agency data and the World Bank data, India's per capita emissions of CO2 is around 1.8 to 1.9 tons of CO2 per capita. So this first statement is incorrect. In terms of CO2 emissions from fuel combustion, India ranks second. Yeah, the largest producer is China. Then we have India in Asia Pacific region, and then we have Japan. The countries which have the largest CO2 emissions from fuel combustion. So this statement is correct. Electricity and heat production are the largest sources of CO2 emissions in India. This statement is also correct, all thanks to our large coal-based power plants, which emit a lot of CO2. So statement 1 is incorrect, statement 2 and 3 are correct. So the correct answer will be option C, 2 and 3 only. Moving on to the third last question. Consider the following pairs. We have given some plant names, plant species, and their description. Cassava, woody shrub, ginger, herb with a pseudostem, Malabar spinach, herbaceous climber, mint, annual shrub, papaya, woody shrub. How many of the above pairs are correctly matched? So the cassava is indeed a woody shrub. Ginger, is the root part that is edible, and it is used as a herb with pseudostem. This statement is also correct. A pseudostem is a false stem. Malabar spinach is indeed a herbaceous climber. Mint, on the other hand, is a medicinal, or I would say it's a herb. It's a herbaceous plant, and it is annual, and it is perennial. Papaya, on the other, if we see the tree of papaya or the herb of papaya, if we see, first of all, it's not a shrub, and its stem is not that woody. It is not woody at all. It is soft and squishy. So this statement also becomes incorrect. It is not woody. So only 3 of them are correctly matched. So correct answer will be B, option 3 only. Only 3. Moving on to the second last question. With reference to the planet Earth, consider the following statement. Rainforests produce more oxygen than the produced by oceans. Marine phytoplanktons and photosynthetic bacteria produce about 50% of the world's oxygen. Well-oxygenated surface of water contains several fold higher oxygen than in the atmospheric air. So, let's take the statement third first. Well-oxygenated surface water contains several folds of higher oxygen than the atmospheric air. This is a very bizarre statement to make, that only the top layer of water is having several folds of more oxygen than the entire atmospheric air. It doesn't make any sense. So this statement is incorrect by sheer application of common sense. Coming on to, so it will eliminate option C. Coming on to that, marine phytoplankton and photosynthetic bacteria produce about 50% of the world oxygen. This statement is correct. And if this statement is correct, then the first statement becomes automatically incorrect because the rainforest produce more oxygen than produced by the ocean. That is false. If the 50% production is done by the phytoplanktons and the photosynthetic bacteria that are in the ocean, that are in the world's ocean, then how can the rainforest produce more oxygen than the ocean? So the first statement is also incorrect. So statement A also becomes incorrect. The correct answer becomes statement option B. Okay, the last question is also a current affairs based question. Which organization has enacted the Nature Restoration Law to tackle climate change and biodiversity law? The correct answer is the European Union in June 2024. So we have seen that UPSC has asked current affairs of past 1.5 years with respect to environment section is concerned. And what does this nature restoration law does is, it mandates the restoration of the 20% of EU's degraded land and degraded sea. 20% of EU's degraded land and sea. Restoration of EU's 20% degraded land and sea. So that's all for environment section. Over to Pratyush sir.
Thank you so much, Chaman sir. Well, that was Chaman sir, our faculty for science and tech and also for the environment, as you saw. And now I'll request Deepika ma'am to carry on with the analysis of international relations. Ma'am, and we need to be a bit quick, ma'am.
Just have 4 questions, Tiwari ji, so it won't take a lot of time, but I'm wondering if my slide is visible.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Now, as usual, on IR, most of the questions were on the organizations, and they were pretty easy. BIMSTEC was asked. BIMSTEC, 4 options. It is a regional organization constituted, consisting of 7 members, states till January 2025 is correct. The second one is wrong because it is not Dhaka Declaration. It was Bangkok Declaration. The third one is also incorrect because Nepal was not a founding member. The fourth one is correct. So 1 and 4C would be the right options. The second question is about the Gandhi Peace Prize. Who will be in the jury to select the recipient of the Gandhi Peace Prize except the President of India? All of them are there. So it is 2, 3, and 4. Now moving forward, the third one, international years. This is a little offbeat question. Usually they'll ask the current year, but they've asked the next years also. 2026, 27, 2029 also has been asked. So all the 4 options are correct. 2026 will be International Year of Women Farmers. 2027 will be Sustainable and Resilient Tourism. Peace and Trust will be 2025. And Asteroid Awareness and Planetary Defense is 2029. The next question is on BRICS. 16th BRICS Summit is held in Russia is correct. Indonesia has become a full member of BRICS is correct. The theme of the 16th BRICS Summit was strengthening multilateralism. It is not multiculturalism. So, this question tells us the importance of reading the question carefully. It is very, very important that you read the question carefully. The next question is already discussed by Dinesh, so I'm skipping it. The last question is on North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO has been in news continuously. So NATO remains very important for your exam. Who are among the following are members of NATO is the question. Only 4 of them are members. Now let's look at it. Austria is not a member. Bulgaria, Croatia, Sweden, and North Macedonia are the members of NATO. So most of the questions have been factual. Most of the questions have been based on organization. So this is about IR. I request Tiwari ji to complete the miscellaneous. Basically, in miscellaneous, we've slotted all those questions which are not under any of these headings like on sports and all. So I request Tiwari ji to continue it and complete.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you, guys. That was Deepika, ma'am, our founder and the chief mentor. And now we are reaching to the end of it. And I don't know what's happening. Just a minute, guys. Is my screen shared?
No, sir.
It is not?
No.
Please try to sharing it again. Yeah.
Now it is?
The screen is not visible. We are just waiting for
Yeah,
the yes.
I think so, yes.
Okay. Let me just confirm. Is it the miscellaneous question slide? I guess it is. So, guys, you have gone through the questions right away from the polity till lastly discussed of the international relation. These are some of the miscellaneous questions that gets asked from the sports as well as from the awards. We are seeing this trend from the last year, especially. So this question talks about the Rashtriya Gokul Mission. If you see here, it is important for the upliftment of rural poor, as majority of low producing indigenous animals are with small and marginal farmers and landless laborers. Yes, that's correct. And it was initiated to promote indigenous cattle and buffalo rearing and conservation in a scientific and holistic manner. If you see both the statements over here are correct. And guys, if you want to go through the explanation is here. Basically, you need to know about the Rashtriya Gokul Mission. Okay, so that is something which you should know about. Next, let's see. The question is in relation to the first Kho World Cup. Okay. Recently it was held, and we have 3 statements to it. The event was held in Delhi, India. Well, that's correct. The event was obviously held in Delhi, India. And then, guys, there is a sort of trick for you where they have UPSC has tried to trick you. India main beat Nepal, that's correct. But this score line that you see in the second statement and also that you see in the third statement, this has been interchanged. Okay. The score line for the main final has been given in the women, and the women final has been given in the male. So that is why statement 2 and 3 is not correct, and only 1 is the correct answer. And you can see the solution. You can pause the video, guys, because we are running out of time, so we need to get ahead with it. The next question, it talks about the 45th Chess Olympiad held in 2024. Gukesh, obviously we know, he got a lot of fame, became the world's youngest winner after defeating the Russian player was not there, okay, in the finals. Okay, Gukesh defeated a Chinese player. Okay, so number 1 has to be wrong, and Abhimanyu Mishra, an American chess player, holds the record of becoming world's youngest ever grandmaster. That number 2 is right. So B2 only should be the correct answer of this. Going last question, I guess it is PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Guys, if you're going through the current affairs and with the trends, this is something the government is talking about again and again and again, the solar power, the renewable energy, and also this was something expected if you are a serious aspirant. It targets the installation of 1 crore solar rooftops panels in the residential sector. That's correct. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy aims to impart training on installation, operation, maintenance, and repairs of solar rooftop. Yeah, that's also correct. And it aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and upskilling and a scheme component of capacity building. That's also correct. So what will be the correct answer? The correct answer should be all of them. Okay. So guys, you can pause the video again and see the explanation of it. With that, guys, we have come to the end, and we are very thankful to all our educators, especially to Deepika ma'am, Chaman sir, and Dinesh sir. Guys, before you go, last time for UPSC, TSPSC, and APPSC, for one-on-one live mentorship, and for the other important factors that contribute to your preparation, guys, for the TSPSC, APPSC, and UPSC, you can call on the numbers given below and inquire for the further details. And thank you so very much. I will just thank again all my educators, and we'll wrap it up because we need to go for the CSAT also. So thank you once again, Dinesh sir, Chaman sir, and Deepika ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tiwari sir. Thank you to you as well.